Welcome to TRS Clips, where you'll find happiness through your own curiosity. Let's talk about India a little bit.
Okay.
What is the connection between the Mughals and the Mongols?
Hmm.
Because urban legend says that Babur was a descendant of Genghis Khan. But I'll let you begin this answer wherever you wish. What I've understood is that the Mongols settled down in Turkey, the descendants, the sons, the grandsons.
It's a long story. So what happens is that Genghis Khan dies, then his third son, Ogadei, becomes the emperor after him, and he concludes the conquest of China. He conquers China fully. Then his grandson, Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, rules China as the emperor of the Yuan Empire. And then his other grandsons, they expand westwards. Some form the Chagatai Khanate, some conquer and rule Russia, some rule in Central Asia, Samarkand, Bukhara. There is the Golden Horde, and his grandson, Hulegu Khan, Baghdad, and puts an end to the golden age of Islam. So his descendants, they rule all parts of the world, all parts of the Eastern world. And some of them become Turkified. They conquer Turkic regions of Asia. Most of their soldiers are Turkic. They marry among the Turkic peoples, and over time they become Turkified. So that's how many of the Mongols, their descendants, became Turkic and Islamic. Now this guy, what's his name? Timur, who was a dreaded invader who killed so many people in such cruel ways that you cannot imagine. And he also did a massacre in Delhi in India and so on. He did lots of terrible things. He claimed descent from Genghis Khan. He said that he was a descendant of Genghis Khan. We don't have any actual evidence, hard evidence that he was a descendant of Genghis Khan, but he claimed descent. And then you have Timur and you have Genghis Khan, and this guy Babur, he claimed he was a descendant of both Timur and Genghis Khan. It was a claim that he made, and that's what historians repeat as if it is fact, but we don't have any solid evidence that could either conclusively prove it or falsify it. So Babur claimed that he was a descendant of Genghis Khan and Timur and so on and so forth, but as far as I know, it could just be a story. So that's where we are. And Babur is the founder of the so-called Mughal Empire. That's why it is claimed, and many historians claim, that Genghis Khan, his descendants ruled India. But we don't have any solid evidence of that.
I think we discussed this long ago about how the Mughal emperors would have looked in person. And lots of people believe that they looked like people from Mongolia. Correct to say?
Well, when it comes to Babur, he was definitely a very Turkic looking person, which means the stereotypical Mongoloid so-called facial features, small eyes and the facial features that people would have in the Turkic regions of Central Asia and in Mongolia.
Which is like, which country?
Mongolia, let's say. If you look at the people of Mongolia or China, how they look, kind of like that. So today, if you go to Turkey, people look European there, right? Most people in Turkey look European because if you look at the genetics of Turkey, they are mostly Greek, Armenian, and Anatolian. Okay, so most Turks are actually Turkified Greeks today, but the real Turks were the Central Asian people of the Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan region, Turkmenistan, all those regions. And those people, they are the stereotypical Turkic looking people. And Babur would have looked like that. That's what Babur would have looked like. And his son Humayun also would have looked like that. And it is said that even Akbar looked very Turkic. He did not look Indian. But Akbar married various Indian women, and his son Salim, who was then known as Jahangir, would have looked more Indian. And Salim married another, I don't know who he married, I don't remember the Mughal history, but over time they became more and more Indian, and by the time it was Aurangzeb, they were almost fully Indian, looks wise. And we know how Bahadur Shah Zafar looked, because there are photographs of him, pretty dark skinned and looked very much Indian. So over time they became more Indian. Just the way the Turks in Turkey, over time they became more European by capturing and marrying European Greek women and Armenian women.
What is the modern legacy of the Mongols?
The modern legacy of the Mongols is a very good question. They invented much of the modern world. Free trade zones.
Do you
Diplomatic immunity, yeah.
You know how there's this urban legend about how 1/3 of the population has descended from Genghis Khan?
You know what? It's like this. The Mongols, like I said earlier in this podcast, the total population of Mongolia was 1 million during Genghis Khan's time, which is a tiny population in the context of the rest of the world. And that population of the Mongols, they were all strongly interrelated. They were all relatives of each other, which means they had very similar genetics. And then the Mongols suddenly, they go and disperse all across the world. So suddenly you have this huge eruption of Mongol genetics in various parts of the world. And these are all very similar genetics. It's not all from one man, but they have the same genetic mutations. So it looks like it's one man. And that's how this urban legend has been constructed, that Genghis Khan was a mass rapist and he spent most of his adult life raping women in various parts of the world that he conquered. That is completely untrue. Completely untrue. That is something that is used to denigrate Genghis Khan and the Mongols and to paint them as bloodthirsty and evil barbarians and rapists and all that. There is absolutely no scientific fact behind this claim. And the first, I remember I had traced back the first article in which this was written. And in that it was written that it is Mongolian genetics, not the genetics of Genghis Khan. How do you know it is Genghis Khan who is the originator of all these genetics? For that, you would need actual genetic data from Genghis Khan, which means you would need a piece of his hair or a piece of his bone or something from his body. We have none of that. So on what basis do they make this claim? Absurd, unscientific nonsense.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.